The war had reached its darkest hour. Earth's fleets were broken, its colonies in ruins. The Zarketh Empire, ruthless and unchallenged, had crushed every resistance, every last hope. Now, their armada surrounded Mars, the final stronghold before Earth itself. Humanity had no reinforcements, no miracle weapon, just the bitter certainty of extinction. Admiral Harrow stood aboard the UEN Valor, staring at the vast enemy formation through the bridge's viewport. The Zarketh ships were monstrous, dark obsidian hulls glowing with violet energy. Their flagship alone was larger than an entire city, its weapons capable of breaking planets. He clenched his fists. There was no way out. "Admiral," a trembling officer whispered, "they are charging their primary cannons." A low hum filled the space between the two forces. The Zarketh were preparing to fire. Thousands of human ships had already fallen in this war, and now Mars was about to be reduced to nothing. The bridge crew went silent, knowing their deaths were only moments away. Harrow took a deep breath, trying to think of something, anything. But no strategy, no desperate maneuver could change the inevitable. Then, without warning, the sensors flared red. A tear in space had appeared behind the Zarketh formation, a swirling mass of darkness that twisted and crackled with energy. Every screen on the Valor flickered, unable to comprehend the anomaly. The Zarketh paused, their weapons hesitating as they turned to face this new disturbance. Something emerged, a ship, unlike anything seen before. It was black, utterly black, darker than the void itself. Its surface absorbed all light, making its shape difficult to define. There were no insignias, no visible weapons, no glowing thrusters, just an eerie, unnatural silhouette that sent a chill through every observer. It did not belong to the human fleet. It did not belong to any known race. It simply appeared. For a moment, nothing happened. The Zarketh hesitated, their perfect discipline momentarily broken. Then their flagship broadcasted an order in their guttural language: destroy it. 100 Zarketh ships turned their weapons toward the unknown vessel and fired. Beams of violet plasma and kinetic rounds tore through the void, converging on the black ship with enough firepower to wipe out a battle group. Harrow's eyes narrowed. Whatever that thing was, it wouldn't last long against an attack like that. But the moment the energy hit, it was gone. The ship did not explode, did not even flicker. It absorbed the attack, swallowing the energy into its black hull, as if it had never existed. The Zarketh hesitated, confused. Then, in an instant, the ship retaliated. No visible weapons deployed, no beams of energy lanced out. Instead, a pulse erupted from the black ship, a single, silent wave that rippled through space. The nearest Zarketh ships, battle-tested and nearly indestructible, disintegrated in an instant. No fire, no explosion. They simply ceased to exist. Panic spread through the Zarketh fleet. Their discipline shattered as their ships scrambled backward. This was no ordinary warship. This was something else. Something terrifying. The black ship drifted forward, moving without any visible propulsion, a specter among the wreckage it had created. The Zarketh commander barked more orders, sending everything they had at it. Wave after wave of attacks rained down, and yet nothing touched it. Admiral Harrow stood frozen, watching as the impossible unfolded. His officers whispered in disbelief. Was it a human ship? Was it some ancient weapon awakened by accident? Or was it something else entirely? The black ship continued its silent assault. Zarketh ships imploded, vanishing as though they had never existed. The battle that was supposed to be humanity's last stand had become a slaughter, but not of humans. Harrow's communicator flared to life. A single transmission echoed through all human channels. A voice, cold, mechanical, yet eerily calm, spoke only 2 words: engaging enemies. And in that moment, Admiral Harrow knew the war had changed forever. You said, the battlefield was no longer a war zone. It was a graveyard. The once invincible Zarketh fleet was in full retreat, their towering warships scattering like insects before a storm. Where once they had surrounded Mars with overwhelming firepower, now they fled, desperate to escape the silent, unstoppable force that had turned their weapons to dust. Admiral Harrow barely dared to breathe as he watched the black ship, U.S. Blackstar, as the transmission had called itself, glide through the wreckage. It moved without sound, without propulsion, a shadow in the void. Every Zarketh ship that remained tried to escape, their engines flaring to maximum, but none were fast enough. The Blackstar did not fire. It did not deploy fighters. Instead, it simply drifted, and where it passed, the Zarketh died. Their ships crumbled into nothing, erased from existence. It was not war. It was something worse, something beyond human comprehension. On the UEN Valor's bridge, silence reigned. No one spoke. No one moved. The entire fleet had been prepared to die in this battle. And now, they were merely spectators to something far greater. A young officer broke the silence, his voice barely above a whisper. "Sir, Lou, what is that thing?" Harrow didn't answer. He didn't know. A deep rumble shook the Valor. Another rupture in space-time. The same eerie, swirling black rift that had heralded the Blackstar's arrival reopened. But this time, it was in front of the ship. The Zarketh saw their chance. The survivors, only a handful of their once mighty fleet, ignited their hyperdrives and flowed into the void. The Blackstar did not follow. It merely lingered in the silence. Then, slowly, it turned, and for the first time, the Admiral felt as if the ship was watching him. A second transmission echoed through every human vessel. The same cold, mechanical voice. Mission complete. Awaiting new directives. Harrow found his voice, though it felt distant. U.S. Blackstar, this is Admiral Harrow of the United Earth Navy. Identify yourself. There was no response. The ship hovered, unmoving. Its presence was unnerving, almost unnatural. Then, after a long pause, the voice returned. U.S. Blackstar. Experimental asset. Designation. Guardian. Guardian? Harrow's mind raced. He had heard nothing about a ship like this. No classified project, no secret weapon. And yet, here it was, wiping out the greatest threat to humanity with terrifying ease. Who commands you? He pressed. Another pause. Then, commanding officer, deceased. A chill ran down Harrow's spine. The ship had no crew. Before he could respond, the rift in space widened. The swirling darkness expanded until it engulfed the Blackstar. Then, in an instant, it was gone. No trace, no signal, nothing. The war was supposed to end here. Mars was meant to be humanity's last stand. But as Harrow stared at the empty void where the Blackstar had disappeared, he realized something far more terrifying. This war was not over. It had only just begun. The echoes of the battle still lingered in the void. Where once the mighty Zarketh Armada had stood, only silence remained. The ruins of warships, their jagged remains floating like shattered bones, drifted across the darkness of space. But the U.S. Blackstar was gone. It had arrived in an instant, turned the tide of war, and then vanished just as mysteriously. Admiral Harrow stood frozen, his mind racing. The Blackstar had no crew, no commander, just a mission. And whoever had built it, whoever had unleashed it, had access to technology beyond anything humanity had ever dreamed of. A sharp voice broke his thoughts. "Sir, we're receiving urgent distress signals from multiple locations." Harrow snapped his attention to the tactical display. Across human space, emergency beacons flared to life. Earth's outer colonies, long thought to be lost to the Zarketh, were reporting mass confusion in enemy forces. Entire Zarketh garrisons had gone silent. No response, no transmissions, and then one final chilling report. "Sir, the Zarketh homeworld has just gone dark." The words sent a wave of shock through the bridge. The homeworld, the heart of the Empire, a world untouched by war for centuries, had gone silent. The communications officer's voice trembled. No ships, no signals, no energy readings, nothing. Harrow's mouth went dry. Had the Blackstar done this? Had it gone beyond Mars, beyond this battlefield, to end the war in a single night? "Patch me through to Earth Command," Harrow ordered. Seconds later, the holographic display flickered to life, revealing the grim face of Fleet Marshal Rains, the supreme commander of Earth's forces. His usually composed expression was shaken. "Harrow, what the hell happened out there?" The Admiral exhaled slowly. "Sir, we didn't win the battle over Mars." He took a deep breath. "Something else did." Rains narrowed his eyes. "Explain." Harrow hesitated, then finally said the words aloud. "An unknown warship, U.S. Blackstar, appeared out of nowhere and destroyed the Zarketh fleet. It took no damage. It didn't fire a single visible weapon, and it left before we could make contact." For the first time in his career, Harrow saw fear in Rains' eyes. The fleet marshal leaned in. "Did you say U.S.?" Harrow nodded. "Yes, sir. It identified itself as an Earth ship." Rains rubbed his temple, shaking his head. "That's impossible. We don't have anything like that. No records, no projects, nothing." "Then where did it come from?" Harrow asked. A long silence. Then Rains muttered something under his breath before looking Harrow dead in the eye. "We need to find it. Now." At that moment, alarms flared across the UEN Valor. Sensor officers scrambled at their stations, and warning lights flickered red. "Sir, another anomaly detected, just outside the Sol system." Harrow turned sharply. "Is it the Blackstar?" "No, sir." The officer swallowed. "It's something else, and it's big." Harrow's blood ran cold. The war had changed. The Blackstar had rewritten the rules of battle. And now, something was coming. The alarm lights bathed the UEN Valor's bridge in a harsh red glow. Officers scrambled across their stations, voices overlapping in a frantic storm of reports. Admiral Harrow felt it before he saw it. A deep, gut-wrenching sensation, like the very fabric of reality was tearing apart. Anomaly forming just beyond Neptune's orbit. A sensor officer shouted, "It's..." He stopped, staring at his screen in disbelief. "Sir, it's not just one." Harrow clenched his fists. "Explain." The officer hesitated, as if afraid to say it aloud. Then, in a hushed voice, he answered, "Sir, there are 13 anomalies. They're the same kind as the one the Blackstar emerged from." The bridge fell silent. Harrow turned to the holographic display of Fleet Marshal Rains, still connected from Earth Command. "Marshal, are you seeing this?" Rains nodded grimly. "We've got every available deep space scanner on it." His jaw tightened. If the Blackstar was some kind of rogue weapon, we might be about to meet its creators. The words hung heavy in the air. Then the anomalies ruptured open. The screen filled with shadows. Massive, looming figures emerging from the rifts. The warships that crawled out of the abyss dwarfed anything humanity had ever seen. Their hulls were obsidian black, absorbing all light, and their shapes were wrong, twisting as if reality itself struggled to define them. A voice crackled through the bridge. Not a transmission. Something deeper, something that bypassed communications and spoke directly into their minds. "The reckoning begins." Every crew member recoiled. Some clutched their heads. Others gasped in horror. The voice wasn't just heard. It was felt, like an ice-cold grip around the soul. Harrow's breathing was slow, controlled. He forced himself to stay calm. "Can we establish communications?" No response to standard hails. The comms officer reported, hands trembling. "Sir, they aren't here to talk." The alien fleet moved as one, a slow, unstoppable tide toward the inner system. They weren't launching fighters. They weren't forming battle lines. They were simply advancing, as if nothing in Sol could stop them. Rain's voice was like steel. "Harrow, prepare the fleet for engagement. Earth is not falling today. Harrow nodded. Understood. But as the first barrage of weapons fire streaked toward the alien fleet, lasers, railgun slugs, even nuclear-tipped torpedoes, something impossible happened. The projectiles reached them and simply vanished. No impacts, no explosions, just erased. A chilling realization settled over the bridge. This wasn't just a new enemy. It was something else entirely. And then, another anomaly appeared, right in the heart of the alien fleet. The swirling darkness twisted apart, revealing the unmistakable silhouette of a lone black warship. The U.S. Blackstar had returned. You said. The U.S. Blackstar hovered in the center of the alien fleet, a shadow against the void. It made no transmissions, no movements, yet the alien warships halted the moment it appeared. The towering behemoths that had advanced with unstoppable force now hung in space, silent and motionless. Admiral Harrow gripped the edge of his console. What the hell is happening? The crew stared at their screens in disbelief. The alien fleet, immune to human weapons, had stopped dead at the arrival of the Blackstar. It was as if they recognized it, as if they feared it. Then the oppressive voice returned. You were not meant to awaken. It wasn't a message for humanity. It was aimed at the Blackstar. The U.S. Blackstar, silent as a phantom, finally reacted. Its hull began to shift. Patterns of light flickered across its surface, glowing like the pulse of a living creature. No weapons powered up, no energy spikes detected, yet the very space around it seemed to bend inward, as if reality itself struggled to contain its presence. The alien fleet backed away. Harrow's blood ran cold. They're retreating. The sensor officer shook his head, voice barely above a whisper. Sir, they're not retreating. He swallowed. They're fleeing. The towering alien warships, impervious to every weapon humanity had, turned and ran. One by one, they activated their anomalies, the swirling black rifts tearing open behind them. Within seconds, the entire fleet had vanished, escaping into the unknown. Only the Blackstar remained. Fleet Marshal Rains, still watching from Earth Command, exhaled sharply. I don't like this, Harrow. I don't like this one damn bit. Harrow forced himself to speak. Sir, we need answers. As if in response, the Blackstar moved. It turned, not toward the distant stars, not toward where the aliens had flowed. It turned toward Earth, and it began to approach. Panic spread across the bridge. Sir, the Blackstar is headed straight for Earth at high velocity. Rain's voice hardened. Every defense station, every planetary cannon, prepare to fire. Harrow hesitated. Sir, we don't even know what it wants. We can't take that risk. Rain snapped. If it did to Earth what it did to the Zarketh fleet. He stopped himself, then took a slow breath. I won't take that chance, Harrow. We fire on my command. The Blackstar grew larger on the screens, its dark shape gliding through the void faster than anything should be able to move. Then, without warning, it transmitted a single message, not in code, not in any known language. It was a voice that sounded human. Let me in. Silence fell over the bridge. Harrow stared at the transmission log, his breath shallow. The Blackstar had spoken, and it had asked. You said. The bridge of the UEN Valor was dead silent. Every officer, every technician, even Admiral Harrow himself, all frozen, staring at the screen. A single message had come through. A voice. Human. Let me in. Fleet Marshal Rains was the first to recover. His voice, cold and sharp, cut through the silence. Under no circumstances do we grant that request. Sir, Harrow began, his voice unsteady. We don't even know what. We know enough. Rains snapped. That ship appeared from nowhere. It wiped out an enemy that shrugged off our best weapons. It is not one of ours, Harrow. The Blackstar continued its approach. No weapons powered up, no threats issued. Just the same chilling, impossible fact. It was coming home. "Sir," the comms officer said hesitantly. "Should I respond?" Harrow hesitated, then nodded. "Do it." The officer swallowed hard, then activated the channel. "This is the United Earth Navy. Identify yourself." A long silence. Then, a response. "You already know me." A shiver ran through Harrow's spine. That voice. Something about it. Familiar. The sensor officer's voice wavered. "Sir, it's slowing down." The Blackstar drifted into high orbit, just above Earth's defensive perimeter. For the first time, Harrow got a clear look at it. Its hull was scarred, covered in ancient burns, gouges, battle damage. And yet, it looked wrongly intact, as if something had kept it from breaking apart. Its design was familiar, but off, like a forgotten memory hovering just beyond reach. And then the horror set in. The Blackstar wasn't just a ship. It was a UN warship, a model long thought destroyed, lost in the First Contact War over a century ago. "Dear God," someone whispered. "That ship is supposed to be dead." Rain's voice was like ice. "I don't care what it used to be. Right now, it is a threat." Harrow's hands curled into fists. "Sir, we can't just fire." The order came without hesitation. Across Earth's orbit, the planetary defense grid activated. Hundreds of orbital cannons, missile silos, and kinetic railguns locked onto the Blackstar. Within seconds, a storm of firepower erupted toward the ship, enough to reduce any known vessel to dust. The Blackstar did not move. It did not evade. It simply absorbed. The moment the first railgun slug made contact, it vanished, like a drop of water into the ocean. The missiles, the laser bursts, gone, as if they had never existed. The very fabric of space around the Blackstar rippled, swallowing the attack without a trace. Rain's expression darkened. "That thing is mocking us." But before he could issue another order, something changed. The Blackstar's hull shifted. And then, it opened. A single hangar door, hidden beneath layers of blackened plating, peeled away. And from within, something stepped out. Not a drone, not a machine. A person. A figure in a dark, armored suit emerged from the hangar bay. No helmet. Just a face Harrow knew. And it made his blood run cold. Because the man standing there, floating in space, unharmed, unafraid, had been dead for over a century. The bridge of the UN Valor was suffocating with silence. Every officer, every crew member, frozen, staring at the live feed from the Blackstar's hangar. A man stood there. No suit, no helmet, no life support. Bare skin exposed to the vacuum of space. And yet, he did not suffocate. He did not freeze. He did not die. Admiral Harrow's heart hammered in his chest. He knew that face. The entire United Earth Navy knew that face. It was in the history books, the war memorials, the classified archives. Captain Elias Voss, the commander of the U.S. Blackstar, lost 120 years ago in humanity's first war against the unknown. Declared KIA when his ship was presumed destroyed. But he was standing right there. Fleet Marshal Rains whispered, almost in disbelief, "That's impossible." The comms officer's hands were shaking. "Sir, he's hailing us." Harrow's throat was dry. He forced himself to speak. "Patch him through." The bridge's main screen flickered to life. The face of Elias Voss, unchanged by time, looked directly at them. Not a recording. Not an eye. A man who should have been dust a century ago. His voice was calm. Too calm. "We need to talk." Harrow exhaled slowly. "Captain Voss." He swallowed. "You're supposed to be dead." Voss didn't react. His cold, piercing eyes remained locked on them. So were they. Harrow frowned. "Who?" Voss finally moved. He turned his head, looking toward the empty void where the alien fleet had fled. The ones who ran. A chill ran down Harrow's spine. They feared you. They should, Voss said. The way he said it. Absolute certainty. No pride. No arrogance. Just a fact. Rains, his voice sharp, cut in. Where the hell have you been for the last 120 years? Voss was silent for a moment. Then he said two words that made the entire bridge go cold. Not here. Something about the way he said it, the weight of it, made Harrow's stomach churn. What happened to you? Harrow pressed. Voss's lips twitched, a ghost of a smirk. The same thing that's about to happen to all of you. A sudden alarm blared through the bridge. The sensor officer's face turned pale. Sir, spatial anomalies forming all around us. Harrow's blood turned to ice. The aliens were returning. But the officer's next words shattered everything. Sir, it's not them. Dozens of tears in space ripped open around the Blackstar. Not the swirling void the aliens used to travel. These were different. The kind of rifts that should not exist. The kind that had swallowed the Blackstar over a century ago. Rains took a slow step forward, his voice a whisper. What did you bring back with you? Voss's cold, dead eyes finally met his, and he smiled. I never came back alone.